everybody, today's latest news is brought to you by Eco-Friendly News. My name is Mayra.
My name is Andrea.
And let's start. Welcome back to our second news of the day. This will be companies fight to keep global warming data secret. Washington. Some of the country's largest emitters of heat-trapping gases, including businesses that publicity supports effort to curb global warming, don't want the public knowing exactly how they pollute. Oil producers and refiners, along the manufacturers of steel, aluminum, and even home appliances, are fighting a proposal by the Environment Protection Agency that would make the amount of greenhouse gas emissions that companies release, and underlying data business use calculate amounts available online.
While gross estimates exist for such emissions from transportation, electricity production, and manufacturing as a whole, the EPA is requiring companies of the first time to submit information for each individual facility.
The company said that disclosing details beyond a facility's total emissions to the public would reveal company secrets by letting competitors know what happens inside their factories. More importantly, they will argue, when it comes to understanding global warming, the public doesn't need to know anything more than what goes into the air.
The Morristown MJ company is a leading manufacturer of hydrofluorocarbons, a potent greenhouse gas used in a variety of consumer products. Honeywell wants the EPA to consider its proposal, which the company said will damage its business.
Other companies are pressing the agency to require a third party to verify the data, so they don't have to submit it all, or to allow them to argue on a case-by-case basis to keep some of it confidential. A suggestion to the EPA warned would delay public release.
The EPA says it's necessary to make the data public in order for the company's calculations to be checked. As the EPA prepares to regulate greenhouse gases, the data companies are being required to submit will help determine what limits eventually and put in place and whether they are working.
The EPA required companies responsible for large amounts of heat-trapping pollution to begin this year collecting 1,500 pieces of information. The data, which is due to report it by March, will be used in the first ever inventory of greenhouse gases, a massive database that will reveal most sources of greenhouse gases in the United States.
Suppliers of fossil fuels, which when burned release greenhouse gases, plus manufacturers of engineers and vehicles and facilities that release 25,000 tons or more of any of 6 heat-trapping gases, almost complete with the relator. The first by the government and pollution blame for global warming.
Most companies don't have a problem telling the government or the public how much they pollute. They already do it for other types of pollution, such as toxic chemicals and sulfur dioxide, the gas that forms acid rain. The EPA wouldn't need that information if companies actually measure greenhouse gas pollution and its source. But that equipment is expensive, and for many companies will cost millions of dollars.
Even the Federal Trade Commission has weighed in and asked the EPA to treat data within emissions equations as confidential, since it could lead to collusion among companies and rise price for consumers. Aluminum smelters want 11 of the 15 data fields. The EPA instead to make public keep confidential, according to comments filed by the Aluminum Association.
Companies that sell information to investors and businesses want even more disclosure. They argue it is necessary to know how efficient a facility is, which is the amount of greenhouse gases released per unit of production. Bloomberg, which has provided greenhouse gas data to the finance community since 2005 is asking the EPA to make public production volume data even if it is not used to calculate emissions. Thank you very much for watching Eco-Friendly News. My name is Mayra.
My name is Andrea.
Let's go to our reporter Sofia Almada. Thank you.
Welcome back to Eco-Friendly News. Now with international news, Rousseff was elected as Brazil's next president. German minister postpones trip to Israel. Suicide attack wounds 32 in Istanbul, and North Korea opens fire at border. North Korea fired 2 rounds towards South Korea at their border on Friday, and South Korea fired back, highlighting the security problems faced by Seoul as it prepares to host Barack Obama and other world leaders for the economic summit next month. The exchange of fire at the heavily militarized border began when North Korean troops fired at South Korea guard post in the demilitarized zone. There were no South Korea injuries, and it was unclear whether it was an accident or intentional provocation. But shooting incidents are infrequent at the border. The guard post is 73 miles northeast of Seoul, and the firing came hours after North Korea criticized South Korea for rejecting a proposal to hold military talks and vowed to retaliate. In this proposal, they said North Korea said South Korea would realize the catastrophic impact of the rejection in the North-South relations. This was all for today, and we'll see you in our next issue.
Hi,